Okay, so that we're going to add a background image to each page, and they should each be unique. Now, I did one for the home page, and you can see that I've got a div that's the entire part selection of my body here. Now, the div is just a division of the page. We're just doing a logical separation of the page, and the whole thing is nested inside it. I tried to do this on the body, but it wasn't working the way I wanted it to. And that's something you should be aware of. I'm demoing things that I've practiced a few times, um, but often with code, you just have to try things and sort of fiddle around until you get it to work. And sometimes things take a few tries, and that's how you learn to do it. So even me, and I've been programming HTML since 1997. I've been doing this a long time. I've been programming since I was 9 years old, but I still have things that I try to do that I haven't done before that don't work on my first try. And one of the most important things that you should get out of this class is that if you get it wrong, you just delete what you just did and start again. It's not a big deal. The computer's not going to break. The world's not going to end. It's no big deal. You learn more by making mistakes and fixing them than you do if you get it right on the first try. Failure and errors are part of the programming process. I mean, you can't be comfortable with the fact that a lot of things are going to go wrong before it goes right. Programming might not be the field for you. I like to think of Edison. I think it took him 10,000 tries to get to the light bulb. I haven't had anything take me 10,000 tries. Nothing I'm doing that is that complicated. But often, 3 or 4, I look at a few websites. I ask ChatGPT these days, which is cool. Um, it's getting easier. And I consider ChatGPT to be the best interactive book I've ever found. And before that, I really love the W3 Schools site. I think that it's great. There's all sorts of great resources out there. And the most important thing you can learn is to teach yourself. And so I'm trying to teach you how to learn, because by the time you've left school, some of this information is already going to change. You're going to have to keep relearning for the rest of your life. And as much as I would love to have you as my student forever, you're going to have to learn to teach yourself. So I was playing with this because I used to teach this with 3 separate style sheets, but that's not a good practice, and students are doing that throughout the semester. So even when I'm teaching, I'm learning, and that my goal was to give you more practice, but I was teaching a bad habit that I had to unteach later. And so I'm not doing that now. So I'm using one style sheet because that is best practices. And so I thought I could just put an ID on the body tag of home, but it didn't work when I did that. So I have this div that takes up the entire body, and I've given it an ID, which is a unique identifier that we can apply CSS to, and I've called it home. And then if you look at the CSS page, which we haven't gotten into editing yet, you'll see home has a background image set with no repeat, attachment fixed, size cover. So I can look at my index page, and here you go. You can see there's this background image, and I've got partially hidden by the text, but you can see I've got a background image on the whole page. We're going to do the same things for the kittens and puppies pages. So before we can connect to them, we need to make sure that that HTML is correct. So kittens, I have a div ID of kittens. I did that one. Puppies, it's missing. And I thought I'd done it. So we're going to do a # puppies and hit tab. And we're going to take this closing tag and drop it right to the end of the page. And then we're going to save it. And so that gives us an ID that takes up pretty much the whole page, the whole body section, and we've named it puppies. That allows us to do a different style for each different page. The IDs are unique. We're going to learn about classes, which is something we can style that you can use as many times as you want. It would be for something like you want to style certain text to be purple and size 14 font and Comic Sans because you want to annoy graphic designers, and you want to use that style over and over again. That would be a class. But we want to do something different and unique on each page. So if you only want something to exist once and you need it to be unique, you use it as an ID. It also works when we're programming for JavaScript because then we can point at a unique thing per page. But here we're using the ID to set different background pages. So now we've got the HTML set up. If we look at the styles.css, you have your pattern here. And I've always joked that good programmers are lazy/efficient because you program and you take a lot of effort to do that, so you don't have to do some sort of repetitive task over and over and over again for the rest of your life. So here, copy and paste. Because copy and paste is probably the most important skill that a programmer has. I won't say it's the most difficult, but it's the one that you will probably use the most. Copy and paste is your friend. Now here, we just need to change this last part. Now I could go in here and I could change it like this, but it may be easier to type it back in, go into images. And now I will tell you the background pictures are the aurora or the beach. And I don't care which order you put them in. I will leave the kittens to you because you can copy and paste just as well as I can. And now I'm going to make sure everything's saved. There's no numbers here, so we should be good. And I can actually, kittens, puppies, and you see I have my beach background, which clashes with the snow dog, but the background's working. So that's how you're going to get this set up. Now, this is bugging me, and this is this experimental thing. Because you're getting the space here at the top. And I played with this earlier. And I'm showing you this, that I still experiment to this day. I'm getting that white stripe along the top that I don't want. And setting margins to 0 and padding to 0 doesn't fix it. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, but it has in other instances. So I'm going to save it here. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit refresh. Bingo. So sometimes you have to tweak things. Now that's putting, I'd like a little more space between my container. So now I can go into my container. And because the other one was -10, I'm going to have to put this one to 20. I'm going to save that because I don't want that orange line right at the top there. Ho, ho, ho. Didn't work. I could play with it. I might need to do padding on it. But be comfortable experimenting. Try things like using a negative margin. You don't know what's going to happen. It's not going to explode. I found that one out through trial and error. Be willing to experiment. Have fun with this, finish it up, and we'll catch you next time.